Breaking news. During the conflict with Ukraine, Putin claims Russia sent nuclear weapons to Belarus. Putin announced on Friday that Russia had delivered its first batch of tactical nuclear weapons to Belarus, raising the stakes in an already tense situation with the West over Russia's involvement in Ukraine's civil war. This is the first time Russia has used nuclear weapons in a foreign country since the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, when they were withdrawn from the republics of the formerly Soviet Union. Putin stated at a St. Petersburg Economic Forum that nuclear warheads have been delivered to Belarusian territory, and this is the first batch. Tactical nuclear weapons are smaller and more maneuverable than strategic nuclear weapons, and their deployment was a strategic decision meant to serve as a deterrent. We will complete this work by the end of this year, he added. Belarus has helped Russia in its military aggression without actually invading any of the NATO countries that it borders, including Poland. Putin, speaking through an interpreter, said that Russia is winning the war against Ukraine and that the use of nuclear weapons is theoretically possible, but would only be necessary if there is a threat to Russian statehood. The Russian leader also brought up the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the final days of World War II, criticizing the United States for being the only country to use nuclear weapons to attack a non-nuclear state. The United States, according to Secretary of State Antony Blinken, will continue to monitor the situation very closely, but there are no signs that Russia is preparing to use nuclear weapons, he said in Washington on Friday. His exact words were, "We have no reason to adjust our own nuclear posture." According to Reuters, on Tuesday, Putin ally and president of Belarus Alexander Lukashenko announced that Belarus had begun receiving Russian tactical nuclear weapons, some of which are 3 times more powerful than the atomic bombs dropped by the United States on Japan in 1945. Russia will have to consider striking the aircraft if it is deployed in Air Force bases outside Ukraine and used in combat, Putin said, warning of the risk of NATO members being drawn into the conflict over the transfer of US-made F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. The first official goodwill visit by Japan's Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako since his accession to the throne in 2019 took place in Indonesia on Saturday. Visits to a cemetery honoring Indonesian independence fighters and a lunch with President Joko Widodo are among the events planned for their stay, which will last through Friday. The trip is the imperial couple's second overseas excursion since his accession. Their first was to the United Kingdom for Queen Elizabeth's funeral. The President of Indonesia extended an invitation to the couple in July of last year. On June 17, 2023, Emperor Naruhito and Empress Masako of Japan will begin a week-long official visit to Indonesia by landing at Soekarno-Hatta International Airport in Jakarta's suburbs. A picture of the swimming pool. The formula, Kyoto, = Kyoto. This coincides with celebrations commemorating the 50th anniversary of diplomatic ties between Japan and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, whose current chair is Indonesia. The couple was greeted at their hotel in Jakarta by students from nearby Japanese schools, with whom they had a pleasant conversation. Ahead of the trip, the emperor said he hoped it would further deepen the relationship between the two countries, which he said had gone through a difficult period, a reference to Japan's occupation of Indonesia during World War II. At a press conference on Thursday in Tokyo, he said, "It is important to remember those who lost their lives, deepen an understanding of past history, and cultivate love for peace." Both the Emperor and Empress have expressed excitement about the opportunity to visit Indonesia and gain a deeper understanding of the country and its culture.